Alrighty, hello everyone. So today we're going to be looking at 4.3, which we are going to be modeling with our formulas. So as we continue on, this is a lot of information from grade 9, so a lot of skills that we've learned then, and we're just expanding on it. So today we're going to be looking at rearranging our formulas to solve for an indicated variable, and then use those to answer different word problems. So remember a few things that we're going to recall. So up until now, we have looked at solving linear equations that only have one variable in it, and now we're going to deal with equations that have multiple variables. So when a question asks us to rearrange a formula to solve for an indicated variable, that means that we have to isolate in order to find that indicated variable. So for example here, I solve for p, and 45 minus 5x equals 9p. So we need to find out where p is going to be equal to whatever it is. So we need to make sure that we are being able to isolate using our different math operations to get the variable or term by itself on one side of the equation. And remember, we always have to recall the opposite operations. So opposite operations, those are that undo or reverse each other. So remember, addition is the opposite of subtraction, multiplication is the opposite of division, and vice versa. So we're going to go through some examples here. So we're going to rearrange each formula to solve for the indicated variable. So the indicated variables are written on the right side of it. So here it says isolate for b, which is what we're going to start with, which b is right here. So you can keep it on the right side because it is positive. If it was negative, then we would switch it over. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this negative c and move that over to the other side. So keeping our, we're going to keep our 2b on the one side. And when we switch over a negative, it becomes a positive. So it's a plus c, and then equals 2b. We need to isolate b. That's what we're trying to find the indicated variable. And in order to do that, we have to divide both sides by 2 in order to get the 2 away from the b. And when we do that, we are left with just this formula of a plus c divided by 2 or over 2 is equal to b. So that is what we are left with when we solve for b. Next, we have b here. It says isolate for b once again. So in this situation here, we have negative b. You can move that over to the other side, up to you. But let's just keep that the way it is. So we're going to keep it negative b on the one side. We're going to move our 3c to the other. Remember, it's going to be negative now because it was positive on the one side. We switch it over to the other side, it becomes negative. Remember, because this b is alone, it always has a 1 in front of it. So we need to divide b on its own divided by -1, other side divided by -1, and we will get a final answer of b, which is going to be kept that way, is positive b equals a minus 3c over -1. All right, I want you to try c and d on your own. So pause now and try c and d on your own. All right, so those are the answers for C and D. Please check. Now we are going to complete E together. So this is isolating L from the W. So because they're multiplying one another, we have to do division. So we're going to divide both sides by W, and we will get A over W equals L. And then F, we need to isolate the W. So because we have our L and H here. We have to divide L and H on both sides. And therefore, it'll be V over LH equals W. All right, I want you to try G and H out on your own. So pause now. All right, so check your responses for G and H. Now for I. So this says isolate B, so B is on top. So therefore, we have to get rid of this 2 first here. So what we have to do is we have to multiply both sides by 2 because it's division here. We have to multiply. So both sides, we're going to have 2 times A. And then our bracket here, that was our BH over 2. So therefore, we'll be left with 2A and then just BH. Now we need to isolate B, so we're going to divide out our H on both sides. And once we do that, we are left with 2A over H equals B. I want you to try J on your own. So pause now. All right, your final answer here is 7R equals T. So hopefully that does make sense and you understand that's just opposites of what we've been doing, so our inverse operations. Now we're going to complete this example together and then go through this just so we get a better understanding. So it says Dave starts with $450 in his bank account and is now taking out $25 per week for spending. So create an equation that models a situation where Y is the amount remaining in his account after a certain number of weeks, which is our X. Okay, so we know that the certain number of weeks is going to be, he's taking out $25 per week. So that is going to be our M, and that's negative 25 because he's spending it. Okay, because he's spending this money, it's going to be negative. B is our initial amount, which was $450. So therefore, using Y equals MX plus B, Y will be equal to negative 25X plus 450. Now we're going to rearrange the equation to solve for X. So given this information, we have Y equals negative 25X plus 450, or 450. We need to rearrange to solve for X. So we're going to move this 450 to the other side. So it's going to be Y minus 450 equals negative 25X. We need to divide both sides now by negative 25 to isolate for X. And once we do that, we are going to be left with Y minus 450 over negative 25. And then now it says use the equation from part B to solve how many weeks have passed if he has $125 left in his bank account. So using that formula of Y, not Y equals, Y minus 450 over negative 25 equals X. We're going to plug in our Y value, which was 125. So 125 minus 450 over 25 equals X. And now 125 minus 450 is going to be negative 325 divided by 25 equals X. And then if we divide that out, X is going to be equal to 13. So therefore 13 weeks have passed. right. Now we're gonna try one more example, and then you're gonna try the next one out on your own. So it says a formula relating to distance, speed, and time is D equals ST, where D is distance, S is speed, and T is time in seconds. So it says here that Marlene is training for her track team. She can run 100 meters in 20 seconds. So what is her speed in meters per second? So in order to do that, we're looking at speed, so we need to isolate X. So we have D equals ST. So we need to isolate S. So we have to divide out T on both sides. So D over T equals S, and that is going to be our formula. Now, that is step one. Step two is to be given that information, plugging it in. We know that she can run a distance of 100 meters, and in time is 20 seconds. We don't know what our S is, so we need to solve that. So using our formula, D over T equals S. So 100 over 20, oops, not 200. 100 over 20 is going to be equal to 5. So therefore, traveling at 5, oh my goodness, at 5 meters per second. So now, how far can Marlene run if it's 3 minutes? So remember, we had to convert minutes to seconds because it is in minutes right now, so we need to convert that into seconds. So we have to do 3 here times 60, which is going to give us 180 seconds. That's how we convert. Okay. Next step here, distance unknown, speed. We know that our speed is 5 meters per second. And then time, we know it's 180. So given this information and our formula, D equals S times T, 5 times 180 is going to be equal to 900 meters. So therefore, she ran 900 meters in 3 minutes. Now it says, how long would it take for Marlene to run 1,500 meters? So how long is time? So we need to isolate our T. So in our formula, divided by S is going to be equal to time. So we know distance is 1,500 meters. We know our speed is 5, time unknown. So let's plug it in. Our seconds is 5 equals T. So divide that out is 300. So therefore, it will take 300 seconds, okay, to run 1,500 meters. So you can see here that this is how we solve. We're just literally rearranging the formula multiple ways depending on what the question is asking. So please make sure you understand that. I want you to try out the next example on your own and complete the following homework that is given right here. If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that,